good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm inspired. I mean, I just read your bio and I'm like, every sentence, I'm like, wow, wow, wow. I'm like, that is Caribbean excellence right there.
Thank you.
Yes. Could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Yes.
Thank you. So my name is Dr. Stephanie Thomas, born and raised here in Miami. My
Mhm.
parents are from Haiti. Um,
Yes.
I went a long way, of course, getting my degrees and my education, but I'm here and I've been serving the public for 20 years and I'm excited to be on your show,
Oh,
Raúl.
I'm excited to have you here too.
Yes.
And your parents are Haitian, of course, right?
Yes. Yes.
I've a strong Haitian following because I did, I think it was last year May, since last year May, I did a video where I tried mango blanc for the first time.
Oh, Mungo Blood.
Yeah, and that thing, I got, I gained a lot of Haitian followers, but my Jamaican were like, that table an East Indian, because our glory, our mango blanc is East Indian mango, so that was a
Yes.
big thing last year. So,
Yes.
so it was, and then I tried my moulet avec
My
poisson.
poulet poisson,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, that thing. Yes, right. So I want to start by asking you what. So your parents are Haitian. What is behind? What do you think is behind this sense of pride of being Haitian, of being Haitian? What do you think that pride comes from?
Well, the pride comes from hard work, right? We're very hard workers, and
Mhm.
we have a passion for our community. We have a passion for people.
Yes.
So we want to see the best for our children and leave a legacy. So that's where we take our pride in.
Okay. That's awesome. And of course, and of course, I'm sure because Haitian parents, when it comes to schoolwork, Haitian parents do not play. It did- do not play. So when your parents came here in the 1960s, right?
Yes.
And what was it like? What was it like for you attending school and having Haitian parents here in
So
Florida? Mhm.
okay, that's a great question. So, my parents, my mom, of course, went to school. She finished high school.
Yes.
My father, unfortunately, he didn't finish high school. He went into the military,
Yes.
and coming here to the states, as first time uh, individuals coming to the state was really hard because they didn't know the English language, and of course, having children here growing up in a household where we only spoke Creole. So when we
Yes.
finally went to school, it was a little confusing in the language. So first generation
Yes.
learning English, right,
Yes.
in
Wow. Wow.
school, and conversing with our parents. So my parents eventually learned English as they went to
Yes.
work. It was a challenge going to school because at the time back in the 80s, people didn't understand our culture. So it was a really tough time for a lot of us back then. But then we became accepted into the community, and we were able to make friends and of course go to school and finish college. So it was very challenging.
Wow. So when you started school, when you got to like high school, and then eventually college, what drove you? Did you always have this dream of, what, I'm going to make my parents and myself and my community and my country proud? What was the inspiration behind you when you started to attending like high school and eventually university?
When I went to high school, I never thought I would work for the government. I didn't even understand the concept of that. And, my parents didn't really know the American system very well. So they couldn't really explain it to me. So most of my education, of course, was in school. So
Yes.
what really drove me is to do better in my community. And I see how my parents are very giving people.
Yes.
People always went to my father as an advisor, right? Because he was so knowledgeable compared to others that came into the community because he was the first to be here.
Yes.
So, in seeing my parents being giving and always helping the public, I became a public servant, right? And then when I went to school, I had the guidance of my counselors, which, at the time as a child, you didn't really realize all the things that were happening. So it's
Yes.
later in my college days I really decided what I really wanted to do and working in government and having the experience that I have, that I decided, yes, I wanted either to become a lawyer or a doctor
Um,
or whichever. So my parents are very proud of me today.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And then your first after secondary school, your first area of studies was pharmacy, right?
Yes.
Yes. Explain to me how pharmacy moved to science. I know because everything you do are related, but they're a little bit different apart, and that shows the depth and the width of your. How did you move from? How do you slide into them so easily?
Okay, so coming out of college with Miami-Dade College, I wanted to become a pharmacist.
Okay.
And I went into the program, and then, my father was a very strict man, as you know, as an islander, you know,
Yes.
didn't understand. And then when I told him I wanted to go away for school, FAMU at the time was a school that had pharmacy program.
Okay.
And when I pitched it to my father, he was like, "Nope, you're not going. You have
Wow.
to stay here in Miami."
Yeah.
So I
Even though
had to make
FAMU is just literally up the road, right?
right. It didn't matter. It was 6 hours away, 4 hours away. He didn't want his little girl away from his site. And I
Yes.
decided I would have to change my career. And that's when I went into health information management, which is, all the essentials of helping doctors build their practices, doing medical billing, and helping them organize and their practices, especially new doctors coming out of school that don't understand the dynamics of business, but they understand the clinical part of it.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
basically, apart from practicing medicine, there's a business and the clinical part of it.
Right.
So how hard it is for how hard do you find it for new doctors to move from, hey, I just finished my medical degree. How hard do you find the transition for them to get into the other sides of being a doctor?
Well, with the doctors that I've worked with, it's a bit hard for them. It's when they go to school, they're not learning how to really build their business and how to open a practice, right?
Okay.
What they're focusing on is the healthcare of their patient and
Yes.
making sure that they keep follow up with them. So once I come into the practice, what I help them do is kind of see the visual part of it, of how to bring in the income and the revenue, and that's when they're like, oh, okay, so now I see how businesses, and medical practices receive revenue, and
Yes.
they find the value in having someone like me in their practice to help sustain their businesses.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I didn't even, I just thought that okay, I went to med school. Okay, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm open my practice and start practicing, and the money comes in right now.
that
Everyone
that
knows me. Come, you have heartache, the tea, the Haitian or the Jamaican tea can't cure. Just come on. I thought that was it. Just treat them. Okay, that's
no,
amazing.
you need a team. You need a team to
A
help you
team,
keep
yes.
your practice.
Wow. And
Yeah.
then tell me about information information
Okay.
informatics and management.
Okay.
How does how does how does how does that work? Because I see you moving from the pharmacy part to the advisory part. How does the informatics part work with health
Okay.
and administration?
So with the informatics part, I'm the person that's the go-between the IT person, the IT department, and the doctors or the nurse practitioner or the PA. So when you want to build a software, the
Yes.
doctor knows what they're looking for, but they need somebody to translate between the IT department and the doctor or the clinician what they need in order to use that software so that they can be more efficient in providing
Okay.
service. Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything that like layman's person for is there one example you could give us, like for someone like me to understand, like
Okay. Okay. So so for instance, you walk into your doctor's office, right? Um,
Yes.
Now we're going from paper-based to electronic. So we call it electronic health record.
Okay.
Back in the day, we didn't have that. So me as a person that understands the dynamic of these softwares, what we do, once you go into your doctor's office, you sign in into your record, right? On the pad, on
Okay.
the if they have it. And of course, it takes money to do that. It takes finances to do that.
Yes.
And that's where I come in. I all the information that the patient put on the iPad automatically goes into the system, and when by the time you go in to see your doctor, everything is there in his or her view, so that they can analyze your health and ask you more questions to add to that. That's where you can actually receive your prescriptions after your visit. The doctor
Okay.
just sends it to the pharmacy, right?
Yes.
Right. And
Ah.
instead of you taking a piece of paper all the way across town just to get your prescription. Now everything is done electronically. So
Okay.
that's where IT comes from.
Okay, so guys, we're here with Dr. Stephanie Thomas. I'm learning so much right now. You know, if you're joining in right now, we're gonna come back after this short break to ask you some more questions to help us bridge this knowledge that we're trying to get ourselves. So stay tuned to the Raúl Blaze Show. I'll be right back. Please share this live with your friends and family. Okay, we'll be right back.
Welcome from Jamaica in a little tin car, tasty cheese. And the old to the young, them love that cheese, yeah. In a little tin car, tasty cheese. Can't stay home.
Dreaming in a world that we both.
Welcome back to the Raúl Blaze Show, and I'm your host, Raúl Blaze, here on Streaming Hub Radio. And now I'm having a very informative discussion with Dr. Stephanie Thomas. You know, whenever I interview people, I try to learn at least one thing, and I've already learned something already, so I'm keeping it here. But I'm going to challenge myself to learn at least 3 things today from you, because there's so much to learn. Yeah. So after you did your first degree, right? Did you automatically know that, you know what, I'm gonna go for this PhD? Did you know you were gonna you're gonna take it all the way, or it went with the experience? Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, I didn't know. It went with the experience, and it made sense to go into my public administration degree, which is my master's with UM. I've always wanted to go to UM, and I never thought I would be, smart enough
Yes.
to be accepted. So I took my chances, and eventually they accepted me. And because I was already in the public sector, I understood the dynamics of the sector. So it's just the book part of it that I needed to really, the knowledge that I really needed to gain. And
Okay. Do you find that whenever you already have the experience, that the because usually it's the other way around. In education, we realize that you do the theory, then do the practical. Do you realize that having the practical makes the theory easy to get?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Able to get A's in all my classes because I understood the skill sets that I had to help me through the courses, and actually, help other students because they didn't have the knowledge. So it was very helpful.
Oh wow! That's amazing. That's amazing. And that means you'd advise that route if someone has the choice of knowing, then doing the book part, or doing the book part then the practical. You'd advise the practical first, right?
Yes, I would advise it if that's the way you go, because life does happen. We have to
Yes.
go with it.
Yes.
So we have to be, conscious of that. So whatever works for that individual at the time, I would definitely go with that. But with me, I did it a little backwards because I already had my degrees in health.
Yes.
It wasn't my plan to be in the public sector, but life happened, and I
Yes.
ended up in the public sector, which is something I really love. So
Okay. And tell me about public sector. Tell me, working for District 5, right, and the city of Miami. What are some of the joys, the ups and downs, and challenges of working in the public sector? What is that
Okay.
like? For example, if I'm thinking of getting into public sector, what would you tell me about the public sector?
Okay, so I work for the city of North Miami. I ran for office for City of Miami District 5 last year.
Okay.
So because of my influence, I decided, why not run for office? Because I really want to make a difference in my community, right?
Yes.
So
and that is District 5, right?
District 5, City of Miami.
Give us the quick demographic of District 5. Who do we have in District 5?
Okay. So currently we have Chairwoman Christine King in that seat. That's who I ran against,
Okay.
November.
And what's the makeup of that city? What's the is the very mix? Is it
It's it's very diverse.
okay?
It's a very diverse city. It's a growing population of Hispanics also, but
Okay.
majority of the individuals that live there is African American,
Okay.
right? And we have about 83,000 just in that district alone that lives in that district.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. So we don't make the whole population of City of Miami, just that one district. So with the 5 districts, of course, we have a lot more people. It's over 1 million people.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow. And yeah, and tell me a little bit about working um in the public sector and working in communities. What are some of the challenges and some of the joys that come with that?
Okay, so the joys is definitely helping the constituents. It's nice to know when people can depend on you for information. And being here for 20 years, I have I have a good rapport with the constituents and also with the employees. So I'm pretty much the go-to person people come to and look for me. And if they can't find me, they will locate me some way somehow. So that's the joy of providing services to the community. Of course, in any industry, there's a lot of red tape, a lot of politics. So it's always good to be neutral.
Yes. Yes. To be the Netherlands.
Yeah.
To be it's Switzerland. Switzerland is the neutral. Yes.
Yes, it's good to be
Wow.
neutral, and you can always progress during the time that you're here in the environment that you're in. And I've worn many hats in this
Yes.
in North Miami, so I'm well versed in a lot of the departments, so that's very helpful as well.
That's guys. I'm talking about deputy city clerk, community planning and development, business tax receipt manager, constituent services coordinator, administrative assistant. Oh my! This is just this is a wonderful, and it is so good that I would love it one day for you actually able to come here in person. I would love to have you actually sit here in person. Actually, I wanted to ask you about so a lot of the times a lot of minorities don't get their voices heard because they aren't as civically responsible as possible, and they don't sometimes there could be an election here and most minorities do not know about it, right? And sometimes whenever people see things and say, well, my vote doesn't matter, that's one of the biggest lies, I want to say myths ever, right? What
Yes.
do you say about civic participation and your duty?
So civic engagement to me is something I advocate for. I don't Anywhere I go to, I definitely advocate for it. And starting early in elementary school, just bringing awareness, educating the children about the importance of voting. While I was running for office last year, it was so discerning to see individuals that are so confused. People either didn't know there was an election coming, they didn't know who was on the ballot, they didn't understand the process, they were misguided. It was disheartening. So I
Wow.
feel as individuals that are engaged in government, not even government, in the public sector, private sector, whatever it is, it's important to educate and talk about, the importance of voting, because every vote does count.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
And of course your mother and your wife and your husband had a double, it was a double organ recipient, right?
Yes,
And
unfortunately, he passed last year. So, but
okay,
he fight.
my
Yeah.
condolences. So how, but how what was that like? Being there for someone who needed you like that, and being a mother and being a public servant. How difficult was that for you?
It was very difficult. I mean, I was going to school full time. I was raising adult children. At the time, they were teenagers at the
Yes.
time.
Adult
But
children.
my husband allowed me the time to focus on my education. He was definitely my cheerleader, right?
Yes.
So he saw how passionate I was in advocating for healthcare and advocating for individuals in the public, and my children as well. So because of that, I was able to finish my education. I graduated last year with my doctorate. And at the same time, my daughter graduated from HBCU school, Alabama State University, and then became a Coast Guard, right? So she gave her life to the sea.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so much happened in 1 year for you, right?
In 1 year, yes.
Roller
Big
coaster of pride.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
But I'm
Uh,
here to tell my story. So
yes, I'm glad. And a matter of fact, when you come here, when you're in person, I would love for you to sit and tell us your story right here. Fifi says, congratulations on all the achievements, Dr.
oh,
Stephanie, and keep up the great
oh,
work. She's from the St.
oh,
Vincent and the Grenadines. Yes. Mhm.
thank you. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
just want to be, a role model for young children, especially young ladies growing up. Like anything is possible. Don't let anybody take away from your dreams. Focus, and you always have mentors and mentees out there that can help you and guide you. So I was blessed to have that.
Okay, and yeah, and finally, I want to ask you about what are some of the new projects that you have going on right now, or your business you're involved with currently.
So I just opened and launched my first business, actually my second business,
Okay.
PG and Company Solutions. What I do is focus around advocacy, healthcare advocacy. I just partnership with Miami Catalyst. So I'm
Oh,
facilitating cohorts where I'm teaching individuals how to advocate for the family, friends, whomever needs help with healthcare, right? Whether it's finding a doctor, whether it's
mm,
about Medicare or Medicaid, understanding the process, understanding how important it is to have health care, and possibly becoming someone that can help with legislation, right, and
wow,
policies to
wow,
improve those elements, because it's always good to improve it and know about them so that you can explain to individuals who do not understand what it is to have health care, what health care is, and what your rights are, as individuals, as citizens, to have health care.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Because having healthcare, the right to health is a human right, of course.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when you look at situations such as and people being denied for certain services or being unable to afford certain medicine, it seems like more of a privilege. And
Yes.
health should not be a privilege. Do you agree?
I agree. I agree. It should be that we pay a lot of taxes in the States, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
feel that it should be something that we as citizens should have, just like other European countries, other countries that do have the healthcare system in place. I believe we should have that. And maybe one day we will. And President Obama did start the
Yes.
process in trying
Yes.
to do that.
Yes.
So that's a start, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
improvement that we need. And local government, I think it's important for local government to have some kind of collaboration with doctors and clinicians so that we can have better health and better wellness in our community. So that's another project I will be working on as well too, so
Okay.
that we can improve on that, especially with
Okay.
the pandemic, right?
Yes. 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 Awesome.
Had, had we had all that in place, we wouldn't be trying to figure things out now.
I know, and guys, if you're joining us, guys, of course you can watch the interview, on YouTube. We're gonna post it immediately, and of course we're gonna have Dr. Stephanie, as I call her, Dr. Stephanie, here in person one day, because this was such a wonderful interview, and I'm glad that I've learned so much in less than half an hour. So I want to thank you so much for coming, and
No
the next time
problem.
you're available to sit here with me, please let me know.
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm here to serve, and I'm available if you guys need me. I'm at the City of North Miami, and I look forward to being on your show again, Raul.
All right,
Thank
thank you so much, Dr. Stephanie. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, you too. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye
All right,
bye.
guys, we'll be right back. Stay